great to see my next guest back in action. He's going to be taking on Jose Delgado, UFC 321, October 25th. That is right around the corner. Always great catching up with Nathaniel Wood here on the program. Nathaniel, how you doing?
I'm doing well, thank you, mate. Week out from the from fight week, so it's the last week now where I'm just ticking over. Dot the I's, cross the T's, stay healthy, stay uninjured, and yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back in there under them lights.
Yeah, it's good to see you back. Was this kind of the right amount of time off in between fights?
Yes, because I had another daughter born. So after my last fight, it was 2 months. She was born 2 months after my last fight. So, I thought the first 2 months of having a newborn baby, I think I'll keep the missus happy, help her out a little bit. So yeah, had to have a little bit extra time off just to get her settled in. Now she's settled in, I'm ready to rock.
Yeah, and we're excited to see you back in action. Got to ask, though, fighting in Abu Dhabi again, any hesitation with what happened last time with the fouls?
No, I'm just going to put that down to a one-off, I hope. So, yeah, it is what it is. I just got to make sure I finish the fight, and then it's happy days.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. When did you find out about this fight? It looked like you did get a full camp.
Yeah, so I think the kind of the idea was, right, you're going to be on the Abu Dhabi card, and Jose Delgado got offered the name. I reckon it was about 8 weeks out. So yeah, had a full fight camp for him. I only do 8 weeks for my fight camps. I feel like that's the right amount of time. And yeah, I'm just ready to rock now. I'm in the best shape as always. I'm coming up to fight week, and yeah, diet's good. Going up a weight means I'm able to enjoy life a bit better and be healthy and enjoy the process a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's a big thing. I know for you not having to worry as much with the weight cut for camps now, which is great. So that's awesome. So Jose Delgado comes across your table as far as the opponent. Did you know much about him? Because he's relatively new to the UFC, only a couple fights. How familiar were you with him before accepting the fight?
No, I never had heard of him. That I'm not even saying that in a disrespectful manner. I think he's only had a couple of fights. If I'm honest, my first initial thoughts was, can we have someone a bit higher up the rankings? Because at the end of the day, anyone in the UFC is a risk.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Jose Delgado, he's an amazing fighter, and he's a risk. He's a high risk fight with not a lot of reward. Whereas I would have rathered someone like Pitbull, someone like Josh Emmett, who again is a risk but high reward. You beat someone like that, you're going up the rankings. Obviously, I don't know what the ranking system, how it works, but if I beat Jose Delgado, I don't see much reward coming from that. But it is what it is. For some reason, I'm still, I think, the underdog for this fight, and I'm like, how many times are people going to disrespect me? So yeah, I'm going to go in there, put on a show, and just prove that I believe I'm one of the best fighters on the planet.
Yeah, and certainly looking forward to it. Now that you've had a chance to look him up, how do you feel like stylistically you match up against him here?
If I'm honest, I prefer sparring at my gym with the taller guys, the longer, rangy guys. I do better against them. I struggle more with the smaller, flyweight kind of style guys, the fast moving and that sort of thing. And yeah, Jose Delgado's pretty tall. He's five. He says he's 5'11". I don't know if that's bang on. He's very rangy, long arms, long legs. So stylistically, I'm like, yeah, this is sweet for me. But yeah, who knows? Maybe I'll take him down. Maybe I'll make it a fight. Or maybe he will. We don't know. So that's the blessing of MMA, right? You just don't know what's going to happen on the night.
Yeah, absolutely. And then camp, who've been some of the main guys helping you get ready for this fight as far as training partners?
If I'm honest, mate, this is the great thing about our gym. We are spoiled with sparring partners. And I think I've got about 8 guys that are a similar style to him in our gym. Some of them are a little bit taller. I've got one guy, Mehmet, who's been my main sparring partner for this fight camp. He's 6'2", and very long, very rangy, and he fights at 66. So he's been great to just get used to getting past that range. Getting past those long limbs, and yeah, as always, I've always got my main training partners. Wesley Meyer, who's an absolute stud on Cage Warriors. We've got obviously the likes of Lonnie Kavanagh, etc. in the UFC. And yeah, as I say, we've probably got a ton of pros on the mat that, no one would have heard of yet, but they're coming through. And hopefully soon they're going to be in the UFC as well.
Yeah, kind of like you. I remember hearing about you on the come up, and then you're in the UFC, and it's one of those things. So it's good to get those plugs out there because we will see them in the UFC soon, I'm sure. Take me through the travel and stuff. Like, I don't know, I'm out here in Canada. How long's the travel time from the UK to Abu Dhabi, and who are you bringing with you?
Mate, a 6-hour flight, or
Okay.
6.5 hours, which
Yeah.
is absolutely fine for me.
Yeah.
I think the time difference, but put it this way, I won't really get jet lag.
Yeah.
And this time, I've got my wife, my 2 daughters, my
Nice.
dad, got my mum coming. So, yeah, I always fight better at home because I'm with my family. I don't like being away from my family. So, I thought if I've got to travel, I'm taking them with me. I think in the past, when I've traveled, I'm too fixated on what's going on at home and I'm not focused on the job at hand. So, now that I've got my girls with me, it's that extra little motivation to go in there and, knock this guy out.
And you said it there, knockout. How's this one playing out on October 25th? How do you see it unfolding?
Well, I've had enough of people saying he's not getting the finishes. So, for this fight, I'm definitely going to be looking a lot harder for the finish. As I say, I can't foresee the future. So I don't know. He may be trying to take me down. Maybe I'll take him down and submit him. But I would definitely like to get a knockout win or a TKO finish. Drop him down, make it very I want to show people my dominance in my fights. Don't get me wrong. His knockout against Hyder Emil was amazing. He threw this really high knee, knocked him out. Amazing. But there's the element of, was it luck? Was it just the right moment, right time? Hyder dropped his hands, whatever, and he got that knockout. For me, I like to put performances on. I do like decision fights, even though I'm not trying to purposely go to decision. But when you've done 3 5-minute rounds and it's a clinical performance, the proof's in the pudding. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, I would like to go in there, beat him up a little bit, and then just show that I am the better fighter, and then look to get that finish.
So where would a win, especially a finish over him, put you? Because he has a bit of hype in the sense that he hasn't lost in the UFC yet.
Well, for me, it's the bragging rights now.
Yeah.
It's that I've got all these little trolls that mess it. Oh, he's a monster. He's this. He's that. And I'm like, I've been in the UFC for 7 years. I've had 12 fights in the UFC. I don't think that he's got anything that I haven't seen before. But I do believe that I'm nowhere near like the opponents that he's fought before. I think the only guy on his record that I'm like was, yeah, okay, fair enough, was Hyder Emil. But again, it was a 30-second win. We saw nothing from that fight other than he landed a beautiful knee. So credit where credit's due. I'm never looking past him either, by the way. I train like this guy is the number one contender. And I want to be ready for all areas, anything on the night. But I just don't think that he's got anything to offer me that I haven't seen before. And I think I've got a lot that I can offer him that he hasn't seen. I don't think that he's ever been battle tested like I have. I've watched his fights before the UFC, which was only about a year and a half ago, and I wasn't impressed. I was very impressed when I saw his wins in the UFC. Don't get me wrong, but they weren't long enough to see. How can you dissect someone from 30-second clips? So yeah, I'm just going there, going the best Nathaniel Wood that I can be, and yeah, let the MMA gods be on my side.
Yeah, do their thing. Do you got a couple of fights left on your contract? I was wondering that too, because like you mentioned, you've been in the UFC for 7 years, right?
Yeah, this is my last fight on my contract.
Oh wow, okay.
So I don't know if it's like a standard thing now, but it's like I think everyone's sort of seeing their contracts out before, because usually you negotiate before your contract's up. But yeah, this is my last fight on my contract, so be interesting to see what happens next.
Yeah, any worries about that? I mean, part of it too, I'm sure, is they got this new Paramount deal, so I'm sure they're trying to figure out that with the fighters too, right?
If I'm honest, mate, I'm at that stage in my life now where I've achieved more than what I kind of when I started the sport. Everyone told me it was a pipe dream. It's just, look, you might get to Cage Warriors, be realistic, to make a living out of it, mate. I've bought a beautiful home. I've traveled the world. I've got some decent money in the bank. Like, if the UFC turned around and said, we don't want to re-sign you, cool. I could hang my gloves up tomorrow, mate, and I'd be a happy man. I could go and get a normal job and just live my life of enjoying. This is the basic things in life. I don't need anything crazy. Sometimes I don't like the pressure of being in the limelight. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
totally.
yeah, mate, I love fighting. I love competing. I love being a part of the UFC. It's the biggest promotion on the planet, so I'm proud to be a part of it. Um, but yeah, I've done enough in this sport to. I've got no regrets. I've got no
Yeah.
regrets, if you like. I believe
Yeah.
that I could beat anyone on the planet, but the opportunities just haven't been there. So if that is, then that's life. There's more important things to me now. So yeah, that's it. Is what it is.
No, I like the honesty, and I can relate in the sense. I mean, obviously, I don't fight in the UFC, but having kids, it really does change everything. Like, it's sort of your
Yeah.
mentality and everything. And I can sense that from what you're saying here, where it's like, I've got a lot, and you've had a very storied career. I mean, there's some fighters that don't even last a year in the UFC. It's a couple fights, and then they get released. So I think that's a very dangerous mentality in a good way for you, because it's like, you don't need to do this. Like, you've got so many other things that are going on. For other fighters, it might be all or nothing, and the pressure can get to them. It seems like with you, it's like you're content with how things have gone. This is just a bonus if you keep getting these wins, right?
100%, and it literally is. I've had my daughters, and it's made me realize there's more things to life.
Yeah,
Before
exactly.
I wanted a Richard Mille on my wrist and I wanted a Lamborghini on the drive, and now I'm like, I just want to build my daughter a Wendy house in the garden.
Yeah.
Um, the other day was my last cheat meal until after the fight. Usually we go to like a bougie restaurant, spend a load of money. I went to McDonald's because that's where my daughter likes, she gets a little Happy Meal. I was with my wife and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, mate, this is the life, like just chilling with my family. So it's definitely put things into perspective where if I don't become UFC champion of the world, who cares?
Mhm.
If I lose a fight, who cares? As long as my daughters are healthy, they're happy, I've got a roof over their head, and I'm the best dad that I can be with them. That's it. That's the only motivation that I need in my life now. So yeah, the UFC, winning, going to top 10, becoming champion. That I like the sound of that. If it doesn't happen, cool. Maybe in
Yeah.
another lifetime.
Well said, Nathaniel. And thanks for making time. I'm taking time away from you right now with your family, so I appreciate it. If there's anyone you want to thank before we get out of here, any sponsors, any social media you want to mention, I'll give you the last word.
Just want to thank everyone that supports me. I've got an amazing team of sponsors. I've got amazing coaches, amazing friends, family, fans. I won't name all individual people, but just thank you as always. I really appreciate your support. And if I could just shout out my YouTube channel,
Yeah.
Fight Front. Yeah, that's it, mate. I'm a happy man if you can just let me shout that out.